about Banshee season 3.
Yeah.
Because a lot of things happened since last time we talked. So what can we expect this third season for Lucas?
Season 3 is really just as action-packed as seasons 1 and 2, if not slightly more so. But as always, with our show, it's got to be anchored with some good drama. And we work hard on trying to keep a good balance between the action and the dramatic content of the show. And I think we deliver both in season 3. It starts with Lucas being in a very different place to anything we've seen him. He's very calm and comparatively relaxed because there's no rabbit anymore. Rabbit's dead and gone, and so there's no threat in his life, which is a new place for him. In the last 17 years, rabbit's been after him, and so it was really interesting coming back and just playing around with that and trying to find a lighter version of the same character, which was fun. And then, of course, when anything's going good, you have to make it go bad. So we will.
Well, the end of last season ended with Deva confronting him about her father. Mm-hmm. So how does that evolve in the season?
Well, that relationship, they're actually my favorite scenes to do. I love working with Ryan Shane, the actress, and I love working on those father-daughter scenes. Everything is so fraught in that relationship. There's nothing really right with it, but at the same time, it's one of the simplest. It's one of the simplest relationships in its essence. It's just very nice and simple and comparatively clean, which is a strange thing to say about it, considering there's so much junk in the way of it. But there's an openness that Lucas has with his daughter that he can't have with anyone else, and we explore that further in season 3, which has been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it.
Now, do we see that throughout the season? Is that explored throughout the season, or closer towards the beginning?
It's all it's peppered throughout the whole season, but it's one of those things that now that the cat's out of the bag and everyone knows that needs to know that she's my daughter. It's it's one of those things that comes up in different parts of the season, and I don't want to spoil anything, but it has some surprising outcomes.
And what about Carrie? Is that kind of put to the side at this point?
The Carrie Lucas thing, they'll always be a part of each other's lives, but you got to be careful with relationships in shows not to get melodramatic and soapy, and they're together, they're not together, they're together, they're not together. So I think, that romantically, who knows where that goes. I don't necessarily think it'd be a great idea to have them back together. So, but you'd have to ask the writer and creator, Jonathan, about that.
And Lucas has someone else in his life also, who is
Deputy Kelly.
Yes.
Siobhan, yeah. That's and at the beginning of season 3, that's part of what is making his world very comparatively calm and tranquil, is having a good woman at his side. And that's the only relationship that he's ever had with anyone that is actually safe. There's always been a threat whenever he was with Carrie, even in the beginning, when she was Anastasia. That was always a secret, and it was always there was always the risk of getting found out. So there's never really been any time when that was a calm place to be, where there was any real respite or a place to rest. And I think with Siobhan, he can find that. He finds that place of rest and that place someone to fall into.
But there's still like a little secret between the two, because she doesn't really know where he came from.
There is, but not. You take that out of it, and the connection between the two of them. They don't have to hide it from anyone. Yeah, there's a secret. He has a personal secret, granted, but they don't have to hide from each other in an emotional sense. It's a great little relationship. But whenever there's something good, we gotta break it.
And also last season was really heartbreaking to see Emmett's death. His wife's death. So I'm guessing Lucas is not going to let that go. So.
No, there's nothing better than seeing a little bit of a little bit of vengeance served, and we'll definitely be serving it up.
What about the relationship between Lucas and Proctor? How does that evolve?
Well, that's an interesting.
That it was parallel.
Yeah, it is. It's. Yeah, I was told the same thing. I'm not. It's parallel in some ways, I guess. I mean, I think the closest thing that there is between Lucas and Proctor is that they are basically the same person. They're very, very similar. Archetype characters almost. You know, they're both sharks, let's say, and they both live to codes which are different, but they both they have the same set of rules that they honor. But their storylines, they interconnect, and it's difficult to say much about that without spoiling a lot. But I mean,
so there is interaction.
Of course,
yeah.
there's plenty of interaction. I mean, he's the big bad guy of the show, and I'm the good guy of the show. So naturally,
the good bad guy.
Right, I'm the goody baddie. So naturally, we're gonna bang heads, and we sure do.
And there's a new sort of bad guy coming back too, which is Chayden. And he had kind of going at it with Lucas last season, and he promised him that they weren't done or he would be back.
Yeah, I mean, Chayden's obviously he's a huge guy and he's very motivated. He's hell bent on destroying Lucas, and so of course he's a menace through season 3. And
any more fight scenes like movies with
there's always fight scenes
with Chayden?
Of course, there's fight scenes with everyone. I fight everyone. I get beaten up by everyone. There's some great action sequences coming up, and there's some good dramatic stuff in it as well. So I think the fans will be happy.
Now, how are the fight scenes going now? Are season 3, is it getting easier, or are you just going to get through?
It's not getting any easier. I think it might just be because I'm getting older at the same time as the fight scenes seem to be getting
crazier.
More. They're more like in every way. They're bigger. There's more of them. No, I never thought I'd be doing action, and I'm not a very tough guy. So when I do these action scenes, I get a little bit beat up, but it's all part of the job.
And what is it? There was one word that you could use to describe sort of Lucas's journey this season.
One word to describe Lucas's season 3. Trauma.
Trauma. I don't like that. That sounds very horrible.
There it is.
All right. And then my final question for you is: do you have a message for the fans as they get ready to watch this 3rd season?
All I would say is thank you so much for your support, and I am fingers crossed that you like what we get up to in season 3.